we shall learn about a couple of more features or concepts related to object-oriented programming. The first is called as dynamic binding or late binding, and there's a reason why this is required. Let us say I am running this program which has the code for add, which adds numbers, as well as it has the code to add names and give the value in result. Now in advance, I am not sure whether the user is going to add numbers or concatenate strings. So what happens is this particular call, whether I should call this add or whether I should call this add, is only known when I am executing or running the program. Therefore, the correct procedure or the correct function needs to be called during execution. If it calls this when I'm sending strings, it is wrong, and vice versa. So when I send strings, it should call this fellow. So it should match the correct function or procedure name with the exact code during execution. This is known as late runtime or dynamic binding. The reason you have late runtime or dynamic binding is because of polymorphism, because of the feature of having one name do different or multiple things. To know what exactly I am doing, only when I enter the items or pass the items during execution, I know that. So dynamic binding is due to polymorphism as well as inheritance. In inheritance, in the base class I could have this add, in the derived class I could have this add. So I should know which add I am going to use or call at that point of time. So I should join the correct code or I should execute the correct code at runtime, and for that I have dynamic binding or late binding feature. Now let's take a look at what is message passing. Message passing is related to data encapsulation or data hiding. So think of it like this. It's the easiest to understand it through an example. Take a look here. Okay, I have a program, or I have a program which has an object by name student. It has got a method or function called as marks. Okay, and I it gives me the result of that particular student. Think of it, you're checking your PUC second year result or first year result or your 10th result by going to the site. So here what I do is this student program contains data about the student, his name, registration number, marks, and so on. So this is the object. Then suppose I say I want the marks. So I am passing the message which is marks. And what is the information or result given to me? It is the result. So this is known as message passing. So what I am doing is from the object student or in the object student, I am requesting for the execution of a procedure called as marks by passing the message that I want the marks of student A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So calling marks or requesting marks to be executed is known as message passing, or it's a mechanism of communication between me and the program. So when I pass a message, it requests for the execution of this particular marks. So this student object, once it receives a request to execute or receives a message to execute marks, it invokes the function or it directs the function called as marks to get executed and provide the result to me. Think of it like this. I log on to the 10th site, I enter my registration number. That registration number is sent to this particular fellow called as student. So this student program has my name, register number, data, marks, date of birth, everything. So my message what I send is I say give me my result or I want my marks. I say I want my marks. The message is I pass the message marks. So this student flow will direct a function or a method called as marks to calculate the marks and send the result back to me. So this is known as message passing. So there is a mechanism of communication, execution by the student data, and then you get the result. So these are the last two features of object oriented programming language. In the next session we shall discuss what are the advantages, disadvantages of OOP, what are the applications of object oriented programming.